Hey guys, what's going on? I'm doing a video about Jeff Bishop's Bullseye trade from last week. So not this week's trade because it's in play and that wouldn't be really fair to go into the details or show like the charts and explain that. So I'm going to look back to last week's and just kind of go through it. I know a lot of guys have become more interested in Jeff Bishop's Bullseye trade since I've been talking about it again, since I did this review and showed all the different results over the last like 4 or 5 months. So I'll leave a link in the description below. You can go and check out this review. In summary, you pay $97 for a year. You get one trade pre-market every Monday morning. It can take from a few hours to a few days to play out. It's an options trade, so you're either buying calls or puts. And it's been phenomenal. So here are the list of the trades from 2022. I'm going to talk about FDX today. But you can go through and look at all the other nice winners that have been going on this year as well. So it has had a really good run. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm sure as people are joining to try it out, things will go downhill rapidly and there'll be a losing streak. And that's just the way things go. It's been green for so long. One loss here that I saw. Hopefully, though, as people are joining this, it doesn't end the winning streak. But anyway, I'm really impressed with it. I keep forgetting to take these trades. I get preoccupied and don't return to them after the initial email. So you get an email every Monday morning that says, like, hey, this is what I'm looking at. So I'm going to show you one of those from last week. So this trade is played out, so don't have to worry too much about, revealing proprietary like information. So here's an example of the email that you get. This one's FDX Bullseye Pick. So the cool thing is he also does a Monday 11 a.m. live. So every Monday after this email goes out, he'll talk it through for about 20 to 30 minutes and answer questions and stuff as well. So pretty cool, right? I mean, that's not bad for $97 a year, given the track record of this service. So here's FDX or FedEx. So he starts off with a brief summary of the week before, and then jumps into his pick for this week, and it was FedEx. So if you look at the chart he puts, it's not very helpful, right? You're like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I'm finding is he emphasizes both fundamental and technical. So he'll pick stocks based on the overall market, and then based on like their earnings growth. Like it's kind of a hybrid approach he uses to decide what he's going to pick. So you can see here he says, I like FDX because it's non-tech related, so tech stocks were crashing, the market was going down, but it is still growing earnings, which aren't until June, so still plenty of time on the earnings, but the earnings are most likely going to be very positive. So it seems like that was kind of a leading underlying factor for him, which is interesting. But then what he does is he immediately looks at the technicals. So he was looking at the TPS, so trend pattern squeeze, and it was interesting because I was looking at it just on my charts here. So this is FDX. It's on a 10-minute chart. This was the day, so he alerted it pre-market here. And you can see a lot of people are always complaining about these things that they run up too fast, but this one just went sideways all day. So it gave plenty of time for people to get in this if they'd wanted to. From a technical standpoint, he talks about the trend. So he talks about how it's holding up in a really weak market. So it's one of the few stocks that is actually holding up or going up in a weak market. So that was one of the top criteria. So pattern is it's uptrending even in a down market. And then on the squeeze, so on the TTM squeeze, there is a squeeze building on multiple time frames. So he showed the weekly, the monthly, and the daily, and the hourly time frames, that there's also a squeeze that hadn't triggered, but was like building. So pretty simple, really, like very, very oversimplified in the email, but he goes into more detail in the actual video, which is 20 to 30 minutes long. So quite an interesting sort of like concept. I agree with the relative strength of FDX. And I think that was a big driving factor behind this trade, it looks like to me. So he says the stock has been much more resilient than most of the market in the past couple of weeks, leading me to believe that the bulls are still here for a move higher. So here's what he says: if I'm wrong, I'll stop at this trade with a close under 202. So if you look at the chart, the reason he picked 202 was because that's where we'd been, not here, just a little bit. Oh, can I get my charts to behave? Scan out. So here's 202. So you can see like here was recent lows. So this was where he sent out the alert here, and these were recent lows here. So that was kind of his thought process, is like he doesn't want to see it go below 202. So that's that. So here are the calls, May 27th calls, 215 near $4. Pretty easy to get in at that price based on the price action of the underlying stock. And then he says, if it works in my favor, I plan to sell the stock if it reaches the 220 area. So in this case, that's exactly what happened. So these are the 2 days that the trade was on. You can get it placed at any time during this period here, or at the open. And the next day it hit 220 up here. It's pretty cool. So within a day, or a day and a half, the contracts that were bought, these ones, 215 calls, basically went right into the money, and just fantastic trade, really quick. From the comments, it looks like most people are making money on it. So great setup, almost double my money in one day. So people are asking him a little bit more about his thought process, and he basically just says, you know, what he does, and you can like ask him questions, which is really cool. So 3.5 to 8.5, 85% gain. So yeah, so a lot of people doing really well with it, which is really cool to see. So the live was this one. So he did a 26-minute long explanation. So it's pretty good. He goes into the details about the market, how he sees it, the market going down, like what he thinks is going to happen, and how that kind of plays into the whole FDX trade. And it really boiled down to really just that the FDX was going against the downtrend of the market, showing that relative strength, and then a couple of extra indicators like the squeezes on the different time frames and the Kettner channels as well. So here's his explanation when somebody asked him, how do you find these stocks? So he says, I follow 200 stocks in various sectors. I start at the top by thinking about unique outlier ideas I have for the week, or what sectors I think will play in based on many factors. Then I start to dive into the technical analysis on the charts. This helps me drill down to 3 or 5. And then he goes with gut instinct. So I looked at some of his other ideas, and his gut instinct was right. This one was the top idea for the week. The other ones didn't go so well. So we go back to the chart. Interestingly, you know, I didn't pay any attention at market open. I really should, because these trades have just been fire. But as soon as I start playing them again, they'll not be. These green lines that you see in here, the GPS that I've been using, one of my favorite indicator systems. If I'd been paying attention, I would have, if I'd been trading at this point, I probably would have bought here based on the GPS entry signal and on the fact it was the Bullseye trade. But look how well the GPS predicted this move up, immediate confirmation, and just uphill all day. So definitely something that's pretty fun to use in conjunction with some of these alert services. So I think that pretty much summarizes kind of the thought processes and what you get with Bullseye trades. So every week you get the email, pre-market, and then at 11 a.m. Eastern time, you get Jeff going live and talking about the workings behind the trade a little bit, and quite a bit of market analysis. So hopefully for you guys that are looking at getting into Bullseye trades, that this might be helpful. So again, I'll leave this article so you can go and read more about it. You can find a link to join here. You can get a week for free, I think. Don't quote me on that, it might change. And also the track record that is available once you sign up in the dashboard. You can see all this. All I've done is gone through and look at it. So I'm just showing you what is in the dashboard, going back, looking at the charts, and seeing what happened with the underlying and then what happened with the contracts as well. So anyway, I hope that's useful. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see some of these other trades in more detail. I'll probably pick out a few and go through them just to kind of show that these are real trades that are really happening and have been very profitable for a while now. Alright guys, catch you next time.